So there was a question with respect to Diffie-Hellman. See, if you look at it, initially the prime as well as the primitive root, that is something like initial public information or the information which is known to both X, A and B, right? Whereas random number X is known only to A and random number Y is known only to B. That is something the private. Okay, so that is something private, right? So in this case, actually after that, by using this public component, that is initially shared components as well as the private, this PK1 is calculated. PK1 is calculated as well as PK2. Again, we will use information P, alpha as well as Y. Okay, so PK2 is computed. Now PK1 would be sent to B and PK2 would be sent to A. But X and Y is never shared with the other party. Okay, so if you see, PK1 is computed by using X at the end. Similarly, PK2 is computed by using Y at the B end. But the X is never traversed over the Y. Okay, now what happens is PK1 is received, which is nothing but alpha power X mod P. This is the value which is received. X is not there, but I have PK1, which is nothing but alpha power X mod P. To the whole Y, Y is available with this. Okay, to the whole Y mod P, which is nothing but, which is equivalent to alpha XY mod P. The implicit value of this particular thing is alpha XY mod P. So X is never available at B, but PK1 through that it is able to compute. Similarly, Y is never available at A, it is nothing but PK2 alpha Y to the power of X is nothing but alpha XY mod P. So that is how you are ending up setting up the same secret value at both ends without transmitting the secret value over the wire. So value XY mod P is the same value which is generated at both ends will be acting as a shared secret key as part of the Diffie-Hellman key exchange protocol. So this is one question. I think there was another question with respect to comparing WhatsApp with Signal. See, both are messaging solutions, but advantage with the Signal is actually it's open source, all the protocols. So we have clarity on whether it has any hidden communication going on and other things like that. So that's why it's more trustworthy when compared to the WhatsApp messaging solution. Okay, that's one. And WhatsApp uses some kind of stored keys also in the device. At the same time, we also try to generate the keys during the communication. Okay, so some things which are stored in the device, some things which are generated over the wire. Okay, these are some of the questions. So we'll continue with the network security protocols. Okay, so till now we try to understand the various building blocks, okay, through which we are enabling the different services. Okay, so now we have the symmetric algorithm, asymmetric algorithms, we have the hash algorithms, we have digital signatures, we have digital certificate. Now we understood each one of these things, how they are going to help us, right? Now our objective is, see, now I want a ready-made solution. See, suppose if I ask anyone, okay, in order to secure transactions and depend on symmetric algorithm, so a manner citizen will not be able to understand all that. What is it? We should be able to design user-friendly solutions. People can easily try to use and enable security for the communication. That's where there is a requirement of network security protocols by using all these building blocks. Okay, so it's a protocol. Here in this particular case, a set of rules which you will try to define across the two entities, using which you are going to enable the security. So why we have network security protocol? I think our first slide itself tells, because we have so many issues with respect to the network, we should have a security protocol where we will try to exchange the various aspects and secure the channel so that all the communication is going to be protected. So now, when I say that I am trying to carry out some online activity from my browser, I am trying to connect to the banking site, okay, or I am doing some online shopping. So from my machine browser, I am trying to interact with the web server on a remote machine. It can be for bank online banking service, or it can be online shopping, it can be anything. Now there is a communication channel which is going over the public network, okay, which is not trustworthy. So in order to protect particular thing, we need to enable all the certification, okay, and data integrity. So no one we should detect whether it's or not. Confidentiality has to be enabled. Someone tries to run a Wireshark and try to look at that, they should not get anything out of it. And then key exchange, key has to be set up across two. And another important thing is cipher suit negotiation. See, always for every communication, we cannot depend on the same suite of ciphers. Okay. See, here one thing we need to understand what exactly the suite means. See, now in order to successfully enable, so in order to successfully enable the security, so what is required is we should have each one of these type of cryptographic algorithm. I should have public key algorithm, hash algorithm, symmetric algorithm, sometimes to reduce size and all, compression algorithm, like that. We need to have one algorithm of each type for a secure communication, okay, in over the channel. So this entire set of one algorithm of each type constitutes one suite. So generally in network security protocols, what happen is we will have multiple suites. Okay. So one cipher suite may have DES algorithm, hash algorithm kind of thing. The other may be having AES algorithm. Like that, we have different suites available. Clear? For each communication interaction or session, we can choose. Okay. Instead of making it standard for all the communications the same thing, we can try to enable a separate suite to be used for each one. Clear? So when we design a network security protocol, we put the rules. We can try to enable all these services, okay, across two entities interacting over the network. So protocol should be able to enable authentication, data integrity, confidentiality, key has to be set up, key exchange has to set up, and also if multiple suites are there, we should be able to negotiate. Okay. Now all these things we know, we studied the building blocks. What we are looking at, we are looking for a ready-made protocols which will internally use all these blocks and enable the security for a communication. Okay. So that's the thing. So where do we implement this particular security? So now we have studied the TCP/IP protocol stack. So I think when the TCP/IP protocol stack is designed, it is basically the idea is for a de facto standard to enable a robust communication over the internet. Is it right? That's the basic idea. Now the security was a limitation. Security was not considered at that point of time. So now we understood now the various building blocks, what are the various security issues, a way to incorporate, whether we should do it at the application layer or transport layer or network layer or at the lowermost link layer, where we need to enable all the this kind of the protocol through which you try to enable all these services. Now just look at it. Now if you want to deploy this, okay, so there are multiple things. If you look at it, so there are application layer. So if you target application layer, what happens? Only the end applications need to be, say I take an example of a client server, some application. Okay. Now client and server, this can be a browser and this can be a server, web server. Now over the wire, they are interacting. Okay. It can be can be in India, one can be in some other country, or one can be in Hyderabad, one can be in Delhi. So it's over the internet. We are not worried about that. So over the internet, they are going to communicate. Now what happens? Application level, if you try to define that, so the application is aware of the security features. We are trying to embed the security requirements as part of the applications. We are trying to bind the security features as part of that. And we encrypt it, all the features, authentication details, everything we'll try to attach to that payload coming from the application. And then before you dispatch to the next level, we are trying to apply all the security. That means whenever you try to deploy at the application layer, application is aware of that particular feature and we are enabling that. And coming to the next layer, see now it treats whatever is coming, whether it is a secure data or plain text, next layer treats it as a payload. For that, it does not matter. Okay, it receives a payload. It will try to apply its own headers, each layer will add, and then route the packet to the destination machine. And once the destination, because all other headers are transparent, they are open, because none of the intermediate devices are aware of the security requirements and they are enabling that. So once it received, the end system receives that, and the application need to know how to open it up. That's the application level. So only end application to the intermediate channel. But the thing is, all the header and other things are open. Analysis and all can be done. Now, as you move down the deploying the security protocol, what I mean, more details, more header details and other things you can try to secure. Okay. As you move down, you are trying to secure more. See, at the transport layer, if you try to do it along with the application data, header, or some kind of transport data, other things also. So like that, as you move down, you will be able to secure more details, which includes the headers of the previous layers. But the limitation would be, whenever you want to route it, we have to open those headers in order to route to the destination network and the destination machine. In that particular case, the intermediate devices or endpoints of the links need to be aware of the security. So that is the thing. So if you try to look at this network level, then the routers need to open it up in order to route it. If the link level, then actually two ends of this particular link need to be aware of the security, whatever it is. So they should be able to open it up and then do it. So as you go down, you are going to encrypt more details or secure more details, headers, where traffic analysis cannot be done. But the limitation is means all the intermediate device and other things they need to be aware of this. So it's about the deployment of the security. So over the period, the various security solutions or protocols are. See, in the 1990s, what happened? People realized the importance of designing the protocols. Secure electronic transactions between the vendor designed which runs over HTTP. So where they try to have the security requirements and make sure that each one of these entities are properly authenticated and the secure communication is created. All those aspects are done in that particular thing. Later, PGP, pretty good privacy standards created. This is meant for the secure file transfer and the email kind of thing. Okay, some email also you can try to send it. So, customized request. People talked about that people evolve. So, which are more specific. Okay, so it is more application. Whereas later, what happened? People, what they have done is people have realized the importance of this particular thing and evolved something about transport layer security, or a layer, secure layer is created above the transport layer so that we can try to use it for multiple applications. Some kind of standard is evolved which is going to reside above transport layer, which will enable the security requirements of multiple TCP based applications. Okay, even a variant of this is there, even that is for working for a datagram communication also. That is where it's called the SSL, secure socket layer. Okay, so which there is a open SSL libraries are also there, which can be utilized for any client server application. We can integrate and enable the security. Okay, so and then later we also have something called IPsec, which is nothing but the IP level security. IP level, the security is incorporated with the two protocols. That is, one is authentication header and encapsulating security for payload. So that irrespective of transport layer, like whether it is so there when a packet to service, security will be enabled for communication. So is it, I think the voice is breaking. Is it the case with everyone? Just let me check one. Yeah, just see that. Okay, now no voice. Sir, is it okay? Once again.
Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am.
So is it
Okay.
clear? Okay, fine,
Yes,
right,
ma'am.
sure, right. Okay. So we have this IPsec kind of thing. Yeah. So what I'm trying to tell in this particular slide is that over the period, the evolution of the protocols happened where initially the security protocols were defined and later there's some standardization of all the protocols which are based on TCP or UDP. For that, the secure socket layer is designed, which will reside just above the transport layer, so which can be utilized for other various applications. Similarly, IPsec security is something like at the IP level, this particular security is enabled. Okay. So this is the way the solution has evolved. Now coming to this pretty good privacy, as I told you, like this is something which is used for encrypting the files. Okay. So for securing the files as well as email kind of thing. So it's developed and it's meant for mail security and can use for security. Mail also is treated as a file, and integrated email systems are also treated like a file. It's like a file, and then what happens is this particular way, the two ends have a PGP related images with the other end. So what happens? So since the audio is breaking, just let me change my change it. Okay. So what happens? It uses the public-private algorithm hash all the things. Whatever the